This video is over the homework that is due on Tuesday. It was titled Solving Equations Practice. Number 1, the negative 8 is keeping the x from being alone, and that is being multiplied by x. So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. We divide each side by negative 8. X is equal to, and let's see if we can simplify this. This breaks down into 4 times 2, which breaks down into 2 times 2 times 2. The numerator breaks down into 9 times 7, which breaks down into 3 times 3 times 7. Now, when you look at the numerator and you look at the denominator, they don't have any factors in common. So this is going to be as simple as it gets. So your answer is negative 63/8. Number 2. We want to get this x alone, so we want to get rid of the 6 on this side. Since we're dividing by 6, the inverse operation is multiplication. So we're going to multiply each side by 6. Over here, 6 divided by 6 equals 1, so we get negative 1x. And on the other side, let's go ahead and cross cancel. Both 6 and 42 have a common factor of 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 42 divided by 6 is 7. Now we can multiply across. 33 times 1 is 33. 7 times 1 is 7. Then we have a negative 1x on this left side. To get x alone, we divide each side by a negative 1. Over here we get x, and over here we get 33 over 7 divided by negative 1 over 1. Well, we need to keep, change, flip. And when you multiply 33/7 by a negative 1, you're just going to get negative 33/7, and that is not able to be reduced, so your result is negative 33/7. Number 3. The positive 2 is keeping the x from being alone, so all you need to do is subtract 2 from each side. So x is equal to negative 16. All right, number 4. Number 4, what we need to do first is we need to use the distributive property. So we take the 2, we multiply it by the x, and then we take the 2, the positive 2, and multiply it by negative 3. So we get 2x plus a negative 6 on the right, and on the left we have 2x minus 6. Now we need to move the variables to one side and have the coefficients on the other side. I'm going to put the variables on the left and the constants on the right. So I'm going to move my variables first. So I'm going to subtract 2x from each side to move this to the left side. 2x minus 2x is 0. I'm left with negative 6. And on the left side, 2x minus 2x is 0, which leaves me with negative 6. So since negative 6 equals negative 6, that means that this problem has an infinite number of solutions. And these two lines must be the same line. All right, number 5. The 5 is keeping the x from being alone, and it's a positive 5. So to move it to the other side, you need to subtract 5. A positive 5 minus a 5 is equal to 0, so we're left with a negative x. 30 minus 5 gives you 25. Well, this x over here has a coefficient of negative 1. So we divide each side by a negative 1, and we get x equals negative 25. Number 6. X plus 6 is being divided by a negative 18. Now remember in class I taught you to put a box around the x plus 6. We need to get rid of this negative 18. Since x plus 6 is divided by negative 18, the inverse operation is multiplication. We're going to multiply both sides by negative 18 to maintain equality. So we're going to be left with x plus 6 on the left side. On the right side, we take negative 18 times a negative 4, and we get a positive 72. Last, we're going to subtract 6 from each side. To get the x alone, we're using the inverse operation. So over here, 6 minus 6 equals 0. We're left with x. And then 72 minus 6, we're left with 66. So x equals 66. Number 7. And number 7, we have 3x minus 10. So we have two steps here. First of all, We want to move all the constants to one side and all the variables to the other. So I'm moving the constants to the right and leaving the variables on the left. Negative 10 plus 10 equals 0, so we're left with 13x. Then when you take negative 244 and you add 10, you get a negative 234. Then we divide each side by 13 because 13 is being multiplied by x and the inverse is division. 13 over 13 equals 1, and then we take negative 234 and divide it by 13, and we get negative 18. So x equals negative 18. That's number 7. Number 9. Number 8. Number 8. So first of all, we need to get the variables on one side. We need to get the constants on the other. So I'm going to move this constant over to the left side. On the right side, this cancels, and we're left with negative 106x over 5. On the left side, negative 52 minus 1 equals negative 53 100ths. And now to get this x alone, I can multiply each side by the reciprocal, which would be the same as dividing by negative 106 over 5. This just makes it go a little bit faster. Over here, I'm left with just 1x. And then on this side, I'm going to cancel diagonally. So 5 divided by 5, you get 1. 100 divided by 5, you get 20. And then 53, let's see if they have something, if that has something in common with 106. And 106 is actually divisible by 53. So we take negative 53, we divide it by 53, and we get a negative 1. Negative 106 divided by 53 is a negative 2. Then we multiply the numerators, 1 times the negative 1, and get negative 1. Multiply the denominators, negative 2 times 20 is negative 40. So x equals 1/40. X equals 1/40. All right, next problem. Number 9. 87 equals 2 minus 56x. We need to get all of the variables on one side and all of the constants on the other. Since the variables are already on the right, I'm going to leave it over there. Constants are going to move to the left. So that means that this 2 is out of place. It shouldn't be on the variable side. We need to move it to the constant side. To do that, we use inverse operations. 87 minus 2 gives us 85. On the other side, 2 minus 2 is 0, and we're left with negative 56x. Now this time I'm going to show you, instead of multiplying by the reciprocal, I'm going to divide to show you that it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Negative 5/6 divided by negative 5/6 is x. On the other side, we take 85 and we divide it by negative 5/6. So we need to keep, change, and flip. And you'll notice that this is the reciprocal of negative 5/6. So now let's cancel diagonally. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 85 divided by 5 is 17. And then we take 17 and we multiply it by 6 and we get 102, multiplying across. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So the result is x equals 102. And then we're going to finish up this last problem. 15x minus 3x gives us 12x. And then we also have one more x here. So I should have really combined this at the beginning. I'm just trying to hurry and made a mistake. So 12x plus x, we get 13x. On this other side, we combine negative 12x and negative x gives us negative 13x. 9 plus 5, we get 14. Now we can move all the variables to one side and all the constants to the other. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides to move the constants to this side. And I get 13x on the left, and on the right I get negative 13x plus 16. Then I add 13x to both sides, and I get 26x equals 16. Then I divide each side by 26 to finish out the problem, and I get x equals 16 over 26. And let's just split these each in half. 16 divided by 2 is 8, 26 divided by 2 is 13, and your result is 8/13. And that's all we have time for in this video.